Speaking Task 1. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. You will then have 15 seconds to prepare your response, and 45 seconds to speak.
Explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement: people who sell illegal drugs should not be sentenced to prison. Then give specific details in your argument.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
I disagree with the statement that people who sell illegal drugs should not be sentenced to prison. Illicit drug trade is a major issue that contributes to numerous social problems like addiction, crime, and family breakups. Moreover, it's also linked to gang violence and organized crime. By punishing drug dealers through imprisonment, we can deter potential drug dealers and uphold social order. However, this does not mean that I consider incarceration to be the sole solution. I believe in rehabilitation and providing support to help them reintegrate into society as better individuals. For first-time offenders or minors, other corrective measures like community service, compulsory education, and counseling might be more impactful.
Speaking Task 2. You will read a short paragraph and then listen to a conversation between two people. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the conversation between two people.
Now, listen to two students discussing the article.
Hey, this is great. Did you see this article?
Oh yeah, I saw that. But do you think we really need it?
Well, yeah, I think it'll be really helpful because there's actually a lot of different classes you need for some of the degree programs, and it can be hard to stay organized.
I guess that's true. I'm studying business, and there are a lot of math and economics courses I have to take.
Right. And sometimes students miss a certain course. Like my friend had to stay on campus over the summer break after his final year to take a class to complete his history degree. He had to graduate a few months later.
Oh wow, his graduation was delayed?
Yeah, because he didn't realize it was something he needed to take until it was too late.
Wow. Well, hopefully this will help people avoid that kind of mistake since they can just see it online. I guess it's good for the advisors too.
Yeah, definitely, since they're so busy. I mean, all the academic advisors are professors, so they have a lot of other work to do.
That's true. They don't have a lot of extra time.
Right. And this way, they could have more time to talk to students about more serious issues, where students might really need advice, like if students have questions about switching majors or doing an internship.
The man expresses his opinion about the plan described in the article. Briefly summarize the plan, then state his opinion about the plan and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
The man expresses his opinion about the plan described in the article. Briefly summarize the plan. Then state his opinion about the plan and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The university plans to launch a new degree navigator website that will help students track which courses they've completed and which ones they still need for graduation. The man supports this idea. He believes it will help students stay organized, especially in complex programs where it's easy to overlook required classes. For example, he mentions a friend who had to delay graduation because he missed a course. He also thinks the website will reduce the workload for academic advisors, who are often professors with limited time. This would allow them to focus on more serious student concerns, like switching majors or internships.
Speaking Task 3. You will read a short paragraph about an academic topic, then listen to a lecture about it. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the lecture.
Mindfulness helps us reduce our negative thoughts and emotions. When we are being mindful, we simply observe our thoughts and emotions without being lost in them, without judging them. The reason why this helps us to alleviate the mental anguish that comes with negative emotions is because by simply observing these emotions, we don't allow ourselves to get lost in them, and thus we disassociate ourselves from them. We basically separate the self, which is we, from the emotions that we experience. This can sound a bit abstract and esoteric, and it is, but it is something that works and that has helped many people. Another way in which mindfulness helps is that it allows us to observe how we get to the point where we feel the unpleasant emotions and what makes us think bad thoughts. By noticing the patterns that lead us to these unwanted outcomes, we can prevent ourselves from going down the paths that we shouldn't go. Some might find it's difficult to do this. It is always recommended to be patient with oneself and not expect a lot on the first try.
What are the benefits of mindfulness that the professor talks about? Use points and examples from the lecture.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
Mindfulness helps us disassociate from negative emotions. When we observe our emotions, we separate ourselves from them. And in this way, these negative emotions don't have a big impact on us. Another way in which mindfulness helps us is that it allows us to break the patterns which lead to bad thoughts and bad emotions. It simply allows us to observe that path that takes us to these unpleasant emotions and bad thoughts. And by simply knowing this path, we can prevent ourselves from going down it. That simply by observation, we can actually accomplish these things.
You will listen to a lecture about an academic topic. After, you will get a question about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. Now listen to the lecture.
Today we are going to talk about the foot in the door technique. Now what this technique involves is making an initial smaller request before making a larger request. For example, let's say that you want your boss to give you a raise. That day you wouldn't come immediately with asking something big like that. You wouldn't say, please, I would like my salary to be higher. But maybe you will come on Monday and you will say, you know what, boss? I think that it would be really beneficial for me if you would acquire this new software. Now, it's not something too expensive, it's quite cheap, and it will allow me and my coworkers to do a better job, a faster job, while using less energy, while it being less difficult for us. Now, since this is something small, your boss will grant your request. And then you will come tomorrow on Tuesday and you will ask for a raise. And your employer, your boss, will be more receptive to this request because he or she granted something smaller the day before. Another example of this is if you're running part of a charity organization. You might ask for smaller donations in the beginning, or for the person or for the other people participating in the charity to do something small in the beginning, some small action, and then with time you would ask them to contribute more and more or to do more and more. So you can see by starting with something smaller, you will be able to get something more, something bigger. Some researchers think that when you ask for smaller requests, you're kind of tying the giver, the donor, the person from whom you're asking a favor, that you're tying this person to you to be more benevolent to you in the future. Because if they did something good in the beginning, they will be more inclined to do something even more.
Using the points and examples from the lecture, explain the foot in the door technique.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
Foot in the door technique is a technique where you ask for something small initially so that you can ask for something bigger later on, and that bigger thing will be granted to you. We got an example of an employee that might want to ask the boss to get a raise. Now, instead of immediately asking for the raise, it's better to ask for something small like a software, which will be less expensive, and then later to ask for the raise, and the likelihood of that raise being given will be higher. Another simple example is the example of a charity where you first ask maybe for something really small to get the person to engage with the charity, and then later on you can ask for a bigger commitment, whether it's an action or a monetary commitment.